right, welcome everyone. Today, we're diving into a powerful text that asks us to listen to the universe in a completely new way. We're going to explore its hidden language and maybe find our own unique voice within its grand chorus. So everything really starts with this verse right here. It's the key that unlocks the entire perspective we're exploring today. This incredible idea that the Creator is known through numerous, most beautiful names, or you could say attributes. Let's just start with a fascinating question. What if everything, and I mean everything around us, the trees, the stars, the animals, what if it was all constantly communicating? Not with words, but just by existing. What do you think it would be saying? Well, the text we're looking at has a pretty amazing answer. It says the creation isn't just a random jumble of stuff. Instead, every single part of it is a deliberate manifestation, a reflection of one of the Creator's many attributes, or what are called the divine names. Now, to help us get our heads around this, the source gives us this really great analogy. Think about a sultan, right? In the courtroom, he's known as the just judge, but on the battlefield, he is the commander-in-chief. Same person, different titles for different roles. The idea is that it's the same with the Creator. We see the all-powerful in the might of creation, but we see the most merciful in simple acts of compassion. And here's the beautiful part. All this variety, it isn't chaos. It's actually a symphony. Every one of these names being expressed gives the universe its richness and complexity, kind of like how all the different instruments in an orchestra come together to create this incredible, harmonious sound. Okay, so that's the big question, isn't it? How does all of this speaking actually happen? How do we go from this abstract idea to something we can actually see and hear in the real world? Let's look at some examples. All right, picture this, a massive, stormy sea. The source text suggests that if you could just listen to the language of those crashing waves and that thunderous roar, you'd hear it shouting out names that reflect power and majesty. Things like, O glorious one, O one of might. Now, let's flip that completely. Think about the total opposite, the vulnerability of a newborn animal. Those little cries for its mom, they aren't just random sounds. They're seen as a direct expression, a calling out to the most compassionate and merciful one, tapping into the very source of tenderness in the universe. And to bring this right down to something we can all relate to, the author shares this really personal story about a cat. You know, at first glance, it was just a cat, eating, playing, sleeping. Simple stuff. But then, by listening with a different kind of attention, really listening, that familiar purr started to sound like something else entirely. It became a clear recitation, a gentle, constant repetition of, "O most compassionate one." Just think about that, a hidden act of remembrance in a sound we hear all the time. So this little cat, this friend we have in our homes, suddenly becomes this living, breathing reminder. Its contentment, its very being, points us back to where all true compassion and mercy really come from. So, when you put all these pieces together, the roaring sea, the crying fawn, the purring cat, you start to see this incredible picture emerge. The whole universe starts to look like this giant orchestra, where every single creature is playing its own unique part in a totally sublime, harmonious symphony of praise. Which, of course, brings the question right back to us. If every single part of creation has a role to play in this symphony, a name it's meant to express, then what about us? What is our unique part to play in this whole thing? Well, the text has this beautiful metaphor. It calls humanity the most comprehensive fruit on the entire tree of creation. And what's inside that fruit? A seed. And that seed is our heart, which holds something no other creation has, an absolutely infinite capacity for love. So the big challenge for us then is, where do we point all that love? If we pour it into temporary things that are going to fade or leave us, that path can lead to the pain of separation and loss. But if we direct that very same love toward the eternal, the source of all perfection, it transforms into a path to unshakable happiness and peace. And this completely reframes how we think about worship. It's not some kind of transaction, like a down payment for a reward we hope to get later. No, it's the natural, grateful response for the immense wages we have already been paid. So what are those wages? Well, first, just the gift of existence itself, to have a body and senses. Second, the gift of humanity with our minds and hearts. Third, belief, the ability to connect with something greater. And finally, love, which is like a light that lets us see the beauty in it all. So worship, then, is simply the thank you for this incredible inheritance. But you might be thinking, How can my small, limited thank you ever be enough for all of that? The text suggests the answer lies in our intention. By intending for our personal gratitude to be on behalf of all creation, our small act suddenly takes on a universal significance. We become the voice for the entire cosmic orchestra. So we'll end with a question that all of this has been building towards. If you are the fruit of creation, the culmination of this entire cosmic symphony, then what is the seed that's inside of you? What purpose is your one unique life meant to plant in the world?